Hey guys, Libby News here, and today we're going to be doing 53 references in Danganronpa V3. Even though there will be over 50 references mentioned in this video, I'm not covering all of them, not even close. There's literally so many references in this game, it's insane. So feel free to leave your favorites in the comment section if you'd like. Also, these are a combination of ones I found and a bunch of others that were pointed out by TV Tropes on their shoutout page. So I'll link their page below if you want to check out the other ones mentioned there that I don't mention in this video. Also, I tried my very best to avoid spoilers in these, but for some it's really impossible to explain the reference without context, so for just a couple of them I'm going to be giving spoiler warnings and timestamps for those of you who want to skip those parts. I'm also going to include timestamps in the description just because I feel like that might make it a little bit easier to skip without like seeing the spoiler when you're scrolling through. But yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know about that. Also, if you guys like this video, please leave a like and a comment and subscribe. It really does help me out. And yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into the video. Firstly, when the characters are given their ultimate costumes, we see Kaede dress up in an overly dramatic magical girl sequence that heavily resembles the transformation scenes in Sailor Moon when the main characters transform into their magical girl forms. The next one will have spoilers for Jojo's Bizarre Adventure, the Battle Tendency arc. I know it came up quickly, but please skip to this time if you do not want to see the spoilers for it. I will give you a few seconds to go. While waiting on the Monokubs, Tsumugi said, "In this situation, it's no use thinking about things, so eventually Tsumugi stopped thinking." This is a reference to a villain in Jojo's Bizarre Adventure named Cars, who was propelled into space and was forced to drift for all eternity. He wished for death, but he couldn't die, so eventually he stopped thinking. This line has also become quite the meme, which is likely why Danganronpa decided to reference it. In the prologue, Monokuma introduces himself as the God of the New World, which is a reference to Light Yagami's famous line from the popular anime manga series Death Note. After this, he and the Cubs get into an argument and he yells that he's not mad while he does a Kamehameha stance. The Cubs refer to him as Super Monokuma God Super Monokuma, which is a reference to the movie Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F, where a new Super Saiyan is created called Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, which is also referred to as Super Saiyan Blue. In the movies, this form was accessed by absorbing the powers of a god, activating them, and then transforming into a Super Saiyan. But in V3's goofy lore, it's supposedly achieved when 6 Monokumas of pure heart are gathered together, which is likely referencing Kingdom Hearts, since in the first game it was stated that whoever gathered all 7 princesses of pure heart would be able to open the door to darkness and gain the power to reign over the worlds. Shortly after this, the game references Kinnikuman, which is a classic manga/anime that started out as a spoof of superheroes in the vein of Ultraman, but changed gears after its initial story arc to become a semi-serious story, sort of like One Punch Man. Monokuma references it by dressing up as Brocken Jr., a character from the franchise whose dad was apparently a Nazi, which is why he's wearing the hat. And shortly after this, Monofi states that he gets all his alternate facts from the most trusted names in fake news. This referencing Donald Trump, the US's previous president, who practically made that his catchphrase during his time in office. I'm curious too if this was added purposely here while Monokuma's in the Nazi hat, considering the comparisons that Trump gets quite frequently. Moving on though, before doing the Death Road of Despair, if you interact with Himiko, Kaede will suggest that she should use Lumos to light up the underground tunnel. This is of course referencing Harry Potter, where Lumos was a charm that illuminated the tip of the caster's wand, allowing the caster to see in the dark. And of course Himiko could not do this in the game because reasons. When Monokuma comes back to life after quote-unquote dying, he very heavily resembles Jabanian from the popular franchise Yokai Watch. Yokai are defined as a class of supernatural monsters and spirits in Japanese folklore. Jabanian, the character he resembles, is a cat yokai who, after being hit by a car, haunts an intersection and tries to get revenge on passing cars. He's also very adorable. When introducing the Monokuma file, Monokuma references Death Note once again, describing it as a notebook that will kill anyone whose name is written on it. Tsumugi almost says its name, but is cut off, probably to avoid copyright issues. Tsumugi, who will be showing up a lot in this video, makes 2 references back to back shortly after this while describing her cospox to Kaede, which of course is what she describes as her allergic reaction to cosplaying as real people. First, she states that she's not cosplaying the spiky-headed underling of a space emperor, which I'm assuming is a reference to Dodoria, one of Frieza's highest-ranking generals and right-hand men present in the Frieza saga. Since she's the same color bright pink as him in this image, she also references Fullmetal Alchemist right after this, stating that cospox is the equivalent exchange for her cosplay, which is the first law of alchemy in Fullmetal Alchemist. The next one will have spoilers for Serenity, which is a sequel to the Firefly TV series. It's a pretty big spoiler too, so if you do not want to get spoiled on it, I really recommend skipping to this time on the screen. I will give you a few seconds to leave. During the trial, Montefiore says he was like a leaf on the wind. This is referencing an infamous scene from this movie where after the crew of their spaceship survives a crash landing, Wash, the pilot of the ship, says, "I'm a leaf on the wind," before getting severely impaled and dying. After Montefiore quotes it, the Cubs continue discussing the film, mentioning that he soared through the enemy fleet all badass just to die like a little punk. In the first class trial, the tutorial for the Mass Panic Debate minigame references Panic at the Disco by writing, "There's a panic in the courtroom," in a very similar fashion to how the band writes their name. During the trial, Monokid says he's jonesing for a leaf since he needs a raccoon tail to chase his dragon. This is referencing a super leaf, which can transform Mario into Raccoon Mario. This form debuted in Super Mario Bros. 3 and allowed Mario to swipe his tail to defeat enemies, and if he dashes long enough to fill up the P meter, then he gains the ability to fly for a short time. There's also an advanced form of Raccoon Mario called Tanuki Suit. Many of you have probably seen it in Mario Kart. In Super Mario Bros. 3, it provides Mario with the same powers as his raccoon form, but with the added ability to turn into a stone statue to become invincible for a short time. Most of the Monokuma theater stills come from famous scenes from Western movies, the first being Texas Chainsaw Massacre, where Monokuma is dressed as Leatherface from the movie, a cannibal with a face deformity that wears masks made of human skin in order to hide it. Some other notable ones are The Godfather, where Monokuma dresses as the Godfather and sits in his iconic pose, even with a cat in his lap, similarly to how it is in the movie. There's one that references the movie Jaws, with a giant Monokuma praying underneath on an unsuspecting one on a float. It seems to be a direct reference to the movie cover, which looks very similar. The next one references The Matrix with Monodam, reenacting the famous scene where Neo dodges several bullets in a very dramatic way. It was also a very difficult scene to pull off at the time, with the film crew installing 120 cameras to take a series of photographs in quick succession. Another one references the poster for the 1982 movie E.T. the Extraterrestrial, about a boy who befriends an alien that was stranded on Earth. The last one I'm going to mention references Terminator, with Monodam cosplaying Arnold Schwarzenegger's character from the poster of the 1984 movie. Minosuke claims that Monodam attacked the Monokub's secret weak point, which Montefiore reveals is the nape of their necks. This is very similar to the Titans from Attack on Titan, and is likely a reference to it. Before the insect meet and greet, Ganta brings in Himiko and Anji. Tenko, worried about Himiko's safety, offers to heal her injuries faster using her saliva. This is a reference to Steven, the main character from Steven Universe, who has the same exact power. During the insect meet and greet, Kokichi gathers all of the Cubs pads and then says, "Gotta catch 'em all," obviously referencing the popular tagline from the Pokemon franchise. Gotta catch 'em all, Pokemon. When Ryoma's motive video is shown following the second trial, Monokuma references Mei from Overwatch, saying sorry, sorry, sorry in the same tone as she would say, "Sorry, sorry, sorry. Sorry, sorry, I'm sorry, sorry." Ryoma's entire character also seems to be a reference to Ryoma Echizen from The Prince of Tennis. Since both characters are quite similar, both share the same first name, are famous for playing tennis, and have similar catchphrases in both the Japanese and English versions, with Ryoma's catchphrase being "you still got a ways to go" in V3, while Ryoma Echizen's is "you still have a ways to go" in the English version of the Prince of Tennis anime. Similarly, Kaido's character also seems to be a reference to Kamina from the anime series Gurren Lagann, with their names sounding similar and both having similar roles in their respective titles, which is to encourage the main character and help them gain more confidence. Also in the English localization, there's a direct reference to Gurren Lagann in the gallery. The scene where Kaido punches Saihara is titled "Believe in Me, Who Punched You," which is very similar to Kamina's famous line, "Believe in the Kamina that believes in you." Funnily enough, both the characters actually share the same English voice actor as well. One of the most infamous references in V3 is when Monokuma states that the Japan Prime Minister hired Kurumi to make this country great again, which is another reference to Donald Trump, since his campaign slogan was "Make America Great Again." When Tsumugi expresses worry about what dangers await them on the 4th floor, Ganta offers to protect her. In response, she tells him that he should wear a tuxedo and a mask. This is similar to Tuxedo Mask from Sailor Moon, who is a primary character as well as the protagonist's love interest in the show. Tsumugi likely compares Ganta to him because he is just oh so helpful. Before seeing the motive, Kokichi teases Ganta by asking him if the colossal insect is on the other side of the wall. This, of course, is referencing Attack on Titan and the Colossal Titan, which is one of the 9 Titans and serves as the primary antagonist for the first 3 seasons of Attack on Titan. It's infamous for its incredible size, standing at 60 meters, which is high enough to peer over the top of the city walls. Its body mass gives it an overwhelmingly large amount of physical strength, but also makes its movements very slow. The motive given in the 3rd chapter, the Necronomicon, was originally created created by H.P. Lovecraft. It's a fictional book bound in human flesh and inked in blood, filled with spells to raise the dead and summon ancient creatures. It's also noted to inflict insanity and even death upon its readers. A brief pseudo-history of the Necronomicon was published in 1938, after Lovecraft's death actually. According to this account, the book was originally called Al-Azif, an Arabic word that Lovecraft defined as the nocturnal sound made by insects, supposed to be the howling of demons. Although the creator claimed that it was in fact a fictional book, there are still many people who believe in its reality. During the third class trial, Miyu references South Park by telling Saihara that he should let her put on some makeup so that she can at least look pretty before he decides to fuck her. This is referencing the South Park episode Human Sentai Pad, where Cartman repeatedly says this phrase to his mom because she won't buy him an iPad.
Because I want to at least look pretty the next time you decide to f me!
As Monokuma licks the Monokubs, Monofanny says something that disturbed me quite a lot on my first playthrough.
Daddy, your tongue feels amazing! This better not awaken anything in me.
Stop it. Get some help.
In this scene, she's actually referencing the Dean from the sitcom Community, since he says the same thing while watching some very interesting material on his computer.
This better not awaken anything in me.
When he's getting hit on the head in Chapter 4, Monotaro says, "Where am I? Where's Kaoru?" likely referencing the Hitachin twins from Ouran High School Host Club. I honestly thought that they referenced this because Hikaru and Monotaro had the same voice actor, but sadly I was mistaken. It seems a bit random, but it could have been referencing the 21st episode where the twins get separated during a Halloween competition, and Hikaru asks where's Kaoru pretty frantically. In Chapter 4, Miyu pleads the group to listen to her after Kokichi teases her by telling her that she should bow to them. The scene switches gears drastically to look like a scene in manga almost. It's referencing a scene from the manga Slam Dunk, since as you can see they recreated the panels almost exactly. As to why they chose to do this, I'm still unsure. It's noted that the helmets used for entering the virtual world look quite similar to the PlayStation 4's VR headsets. Speaking of the virtual world, it also seems to be referencing the Matrix, as the characters put a cable on their head, in this case a helmet, to log in and have to use a phone to log out. During the Chapter 4 trial, Monokuma goes on a rant about how much he hates Sonic the Hedgehog, and funnily enough, the official Sonic the Hedgehog Twitter responds to this with a clip where Dr. Eggman agrees with Monokuma and says that he also hates Sonic.
Just like that hedgehog who loses all his rings whenever he crashes into stuff. I hate that guy and his worldwide fame and his stupid games, and I hate that hedgehog!
Dear Spike Chunsoft _E, we've seen what that bear of yours has been saying, and I agree. He is quite the nuisance, isn't he?
One of the Chapter 5 Monokuma theaters references Titanic, where two Monokumas caress each other very similarly to how the leads of the film do, in the famous scene where Jack holds Rose at the front of the boat and she says she feels as if she's flying. In the same Monokuma theater, it makes a very strange reference to Persona 5 by informing the player about how voices are processed and transmitted over a phone, and that all Sunoco flavors are actually the same flavor with different aromas and food coloring. Both of these are trivia questions asked during school in Persona 5. Kibo's arm cannon that he uses to destroy the school in Chapter 6 could possibly be a reference to Mega Man's blaster, since the two look quite similar. Kokichi's organization DICE could be a reference to the animated television series DICE DNA Integrated Cybernetic Enterprises, in which the main characters are an organization run by children, specifically orphans. The series includes a villainous B-DICE organization, which tries to discredit DICE by posing as DICE members, and they have a clown and poker motif, similarly to Kokichi's organization. During Oma's second free time events, he references Yu-Gi-Oh! Quite a bit, specifically the infamous 4Kids dub of Yu-Gi-Oh!, which, if you don't know, 4Kids was a very heavily memed upon company because its localizations of different anime would go way overboard with trying to Americanize and censor them.
These donuts are great! Jelly-filled are my favorite!
Kokichi references their Yu-Gi-Oh! Localization, firstly saying it's time to duel from their version of the show's introduction, which, let's be real, is a bop, by the way.
It's time to duel!
Then he mentions that if Saihara loses, he'd be cast into the Shadow Realm, which was created by 4Kids as a way to censor out the idea of actually dying in Yu-Gi-Oh! He also references the Heart of the Cards, which was a famous phrase in the dub used by the main character as a deus ex machina to help him out of tight situations. The creepy Monokuma head that Saihara and the others find in the library's hidden room called Mother Kuma is a direct reference to Mother Brain, a major villain from the Metroid franchise, since the two look quite similar and both have Mother in their name. Before the class trial, Tsumugi says the following: "When someone says please so strongly, I always want to respond with, but I refuse. This is a reference to Jojo's Bizarre Adventure, Diamond is Unbreakable, where Yuya, through Highway Star, tells Rohan that if he follows his instructions, he'll let him go, to which Rohan replies abruptly, "But I refuse," stating that one of his favorite things to do is to tell someone who I think is strong no. It's another Jojo quote quite similar to the previous one that has been memed on quite a bit. Before the 6th trial, Kibo examines the bug vac with his zoom vision, which looks very similar to the scouters used by Frieza's army in Dragon Ball Z. In the 6th trial, when it's revealed that the cast is on the 53rd season of Danganronpa, it shows titles for several of the previous games in which many resemble logos from other franchises. Final Danganronpa V's logo is a reference to the fantasy RPG video game series Final Fantasy, specifically Final Fantasy VII. The subtitle Monokuma Returns is a reference to Lightning Returns Final Fantasy XIII. Season 6 logo and subtitle are references to the 2016 anime film Your Name. The title of Dream Danganronpa also refers to the recurring theme of dreams in the film. Season 7's logo is a reference to the kaiju film series Godzilla, specifically Shin Godzilla. Season 8's logo is a reference to the superhero franchise Ultra series, specifically the return of Ultraman. Season 8's subtitle of A New Hope and Despair is also a reference to the original Star Wars trilogy. Season 9's logo is a reference to the original Mobile Suit Gundam series. The subtitle Despair's Counterattack is a reference to Mobile Suit Gundam Chara's Counterattack. And finally, Season 10's logo is a reference to the Doraemon films. Specifically, it's referencing Doraemon, Nobita, and the Birth of Japan 2016. But anyways, this will conclude the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you enjoyed these references, if there's others that you really liked that I left out. Some were really hard to find, like for the life of me, I could not find the exact clip where Tinko makes the SpongeBob reference. I found like a picture of it on Twitter, but I could not find the actual clip itself when I was looking through gameplay. So I'll give that one a shout out here because it's really random and funny, but I just could not for the life of me find it. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I do plan on doing that other video that I mentioned in that poll a while back, the like what I would change in Danganronpa. I just want to do this one first because I already had like a bunch of the script already written out for it, and I also criticized Danganronpa a decent bit in my last video, and I felt like they might be too similar to go up back to back. So I figured we'd take a break from criticizing the series to talk about references for a bit. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a like and subscribe if you did. It really helps me out, and I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you real soon.